Hello and welcome ladies and gentlemen to a playthrough gamer video. This is the top games of 2013 list that I have picked out personally. These are the games that I think deserve recognition and I have enjoyed the most out of this entire year. That doesn't mean that these are the exact best games of the year and that they should be taken, as this is the official top 10. These are my official top 10. This is my favorite games of the year, the games that I've enjoyed the most. So whether or not some of them are also on your list or not is doesn't matter. These are my top 10. So um, you know, just take that with a grain of salt. Anyway, this is my top 10 games of 2013. Please enjoy and let's get underway. Coming in at number 10 is a title that may be controversial on this list, but I put it on here nonetheless. It is Battlefield 4. I played this game specifically on the PlayStation 4. That is the only system that I have had the experience on so far from Battlefield, and I do realize that this game came laden with bugs and glitches and just a very negative response because of all the technicalities that definitely were wrong with this game and didn't work at launch, and some people have even said that they still exist today. But my personal experience was with Battlefield 4 wasn't all that bad. I bought it, I came home, and the one thing that is bad about it is that I could not play Conquest. But it was a launch game, and I was playing it on the first day that you could play it on PlayStation. So it was pretty expected. I was surprised that I could get into matches of Rush and Team Deathmatch, but Conquest was a no-go at the moment, which to me wasn't really that big of a deal. I just played campaign until they kind of figured out the issue, and they figured out the issue within only a couple days. A couple days later, I was playing Conquest with 64 people, and it was fun. So my experience with the game has been rather enjoyable. And though the campaign is sort of kind of corridor shooting and just nothing special, we've kind of come to expect that from military first-person shooter games. The campaign is enjoyable, but where this game's strength lies is definitely in its multiplayer mode. Its multiplayer component is the thing that pushes us over the edge. It's the reason it's on this list, and the people who made this game know that the multiplayer is more important to them, because in the menu screen they put multiplayer right above campaign. So the campaign is not what they're focusing on here. Please do not buy this game if you do not have access to get on online multiplayer, because that is the only reason you should buy this game. It is worth the price of admission, in my opinion. It's a fantastic first-person shooter. It's my favorite military first-person shooter of the last couple of years, probably, because none of them have really been anything special. I didn't like Battlefield 3 all that much, but for some reason this game, I get in there and I am immediately dominating. I love this game. Everything feels really balanced, and everybody uses different guns, which is something very shocking to me, because everybody usually picks on one gun that's overpowered and kills everybody else. But I've seen people use all sorts of assault rifles, all sorts of DMRs, and that's another thing. There are tons of weapons in this game. I could not believe it. I had such an enjoyable experience with this game. All the explosive action of online multiplayer and the great social experience that it offers really it hit me hard, and I really like this game. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and it sits at number 10 on my list, and I don't really care who disagrees with it. If it's that controversial, it may not be on your top 10 list, and that's fine. Put your top 10 list on the bottom and tell me if this game, why it doesn't deserve to be in your top 10 list, because I've seemed to find a way for it to deserve a spot in mine. It sits at number 10. Dang, a lot of smoke there. That was crazy. Oh my gosh, where did I just get shot from? Jesus. Coming in at number 10 is a surprise to me, to say the least. Resogun for the PlayStation 4. It's exclusive to the PlayStation 4, and it just so happens that it is a free game with PSN Plus members right now. And boy, is it worth picking up. If you have a PlayStation 4 and you do not and you did not download Resogun, make sure you do it as soon as possible. It's free, so I mean you have nothing to lose. But these type of games aren't really up my alley. I don't really like spaceship shooters, but I fell in love with this one, and I just find the gameplay to be really fun. I mean, it's just super entertaining. There's nothing, you know, over. There's nothing that just makes this game have a huge acclaim or anything like that. There's nothing that makes this game super special in the fact that it's just a video game, but it's fun nonetheless. And I have found a lot of enjoyment out of it. Such a little simple game that can really show you just how much gameplay goes over graphics, because the graphics are good in this game, but they're not realistic. They're just stylistic. And I think that it works really well for this title, and I'm glad that it sits at number 9, and that's where I'm going to leave it. Whoa, my multiplier is past 5. I've never seen it past 5. Coming in at number 8 is one of my favorite platformers of this year. And granted, I haven't really played a whole lot of platformers, but I happen to be a gigantic fan of the Angry Video Game Nerd. So Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures was a no-brainer for me to buy. I love platformers. I have a low-end PC so I could run it. And this game, I fell in love with it automatically the second I started playing it. It's disgusting, and it's harebrained, and it's crazy, and all of those things are its strengths, because this game is a hell of a platform game. Hard as freaking nails, tough as nails. This game it punishes you so easily, yet rewards you again so easily. It just does everything that a good platformer should be, or should do, and it also sort of throws you back into another time in video game history. And there's not a whole lot of games that are really taking the pixelated approach to it, but I love when they do come about. There are still platform games that send you back to another time, but none do such a good job as this one. Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures takes number 8 spot. It can get ridiculous as fuck, so oh shit, I'm gonna have to call in air support. Coming in at number 7 is the pirate simulator to end all pirate simulators. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag is a fantastic addition to the series, and it blows Assassin's Creed 3 out of the water, because frankly Assassin's Creed 3 kind of blew. Anyway, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag I initially purchased on the Xbox 360 because I figured the graphics wouldn't be all that much better on the PlayStation 4, so gameplay over graphics sort of took my attention, so I bought it on Xbox. I started to make a playthrough of it, and then I eventually stopped making the playthrough just because I think school was starting, or something was coming up in my life that sort of ended the Let's Play. But fortunately, I repurchased the game because I had recently just sold it, but I repurchased this game on PlayStation 4 to see the actual difference for my own eyes. And while the differences are slight, they really make the game a lot better. Gameplay wise, I have had pretty much a very similar experience as the Xbox 360 version. In fact, the Xbox 360 version I may have had just a bit more fun because it was my first time playing through it. But I broke past the area I was in the last playthrough, so I beat the whole game on PS4. It was a blast, and there's nothing like being on the open seas and destroying other ships and just embarking on these pirate adventures. This is the best pirate game ever made, probably, and that's not really hard for it to do because there aren't a whole lot of pirate games that receive this sort of acclaim. But I loved Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. I definitely recommend picking this up on next gen consoles if you have them. do this game a favor and give it your time because it has a lot of things to give. Coming in at number 6 is a legendary 3DS game. The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds is phenomenal. I still haven't beat it yet because it is such a long game, and I just recently got my 3DS, but already this game has elicited so much enjoyment from me that I have already I'm like it's in the top 10 automatically. Within the first couple hours of playing it, and I'm still enjoying it right now at the moment. I've been playing it a lot. Every time I'm not playing PlayStation, I pick up my 3DS and I'm playing handheld, and it's such a good handheld to have, and this is such a good video game to possess with it. Definitely a recommendation from me comes to Legend of Zelda. And you know what's interesting? I didn't like the last 3D Zelda game as much as I like this one. There's less hand holding in this handheld version than there is in Skyward Sword. I'm enjoying it more because of that. There's little to no hand holding in this game. It basically tells you, okay, here's how you shoot, or here's how you fire your arrow, here's how you swing your sword. Now here's the gigantic map, now go explore. And that is what Zelda is about. And I am glad that they've gone back to this formula. Please stick here, Nintendo, please. I love the way that this game is formatted. It is a fantastic experience. Very, very imaginative dungeons, and just great gameplay all around. Fantastic game. It takes the number 6 spot easily. I believe this is the...
Performing a blade takedown.
Yeah, the shuriken takedown.
Nearby enemy.
Oh shit. Looks like he was turning around. Shuriken this guy. Oh yeah. Oh my god. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. Words cannot describe how excited I actually was for this game, and I didn't think I would be. It actually came out sometime in May, I believe, and my birthday was in May. So I was kind of planning on getting some birthday money together and throwing it towards Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. I had heard about this game, and I had just recently purchased Far Cry 3 because I wasn't able to get it when it first came out, so I just waited until it dropped in price and got it for around $30. Played it, loved Far Cry 3, and then I heard about the DLC that was coming out for it, and I was like, well, I wonder what they could possibly be doing. I mean, what could the DLC be about? Just more island adventures? And then I realized that it was an 80s throwback thing, which really isn't my thing, to be honest with you. I don't really care much for the 80s. It seems like actually a whole lot of people really like that was their favorite part about the game, was the fact that it was like an 80s throwback. But for me, it was more about it was a throwback to classic video games, because my favorite thing out of the 80s was video games. That's basically when video games emerged as a medium. That's when Nintendo became a company. You know, this is a great time for video games. It was pretty much the pioneer decade for them, and just being thrown back to sound effects that reminded me of that era is awesome. And this game, the gameplay, it comes with some fantastic gameplay that I just absolutely loved. The first-person shooter gameplay in this game is so good, and you wouldn't expect it to be this good because it's just like a standalone $15 DLC. It's sort of like Call of Juarez Gunslinger, that same kind of surprise that everybody sort of felt. It's kind of like, well, this is kind of a standalone thing. I think it costs $15. How good could the gameplay actually be? Well, the gameplay in Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon is worth the price of admission alone. It's fantastic. The game has its limitations because it's a $15 DLC, but to be honest with you, I can't even believe they were able to pack this much content into a $15 DLC. It was the best game of May for me. It was my game of the month in May. There wasn't a whole lot of games, to my knowledge, that really outdid this game, because this was just an absolutely great shooter. I loved this game. It takes the number 5 spot pretty easily. Just point blank range there. Oh yeah, beautiful. So Tomb Raider 2013 takes the number 4 spot. I've seen this game on a lot of people's lists. It's on there for a good reason, people. It really is just a fantastic game in every respect, really. It has very few flaws. Every time that you need to do a platforming section, the game works perfectly. Every time that you need to do a combat section, the game works perfectly. And every time that you need to do a survival type puzzle section, the game works perfectly. Where the flaws lie is in the smaller things like, overextended fights with tons of respawning enemies, that sort of thing. But to be honest with you, more of the great combat isn't exactly a huge deal to me. I enjoyed pretty much every last minute of this game, apart from some of the voice acting of the other characters besides Lara. Lara's voice acting, of course, was done very well by. I honestly don't know the actress's name, but she did a fantastic job, and I honestly think Roth also did a very good job. Whoever played Roth did a fantastic job. But this game is just it's perfection in pretty much every category that it tried to be perfection in. The graphics are fantastic, the gameplay is fantastic, and the story is great. It's not the greatest story ever made or anything like that, but it's a great tale to tell to bring back Lara Croft into the video gaming industry because the older Tomb Raider games were starting to get stale and they needed an overhaul badly. They got it, and thankfully Square Enix did a fantastic job with it. And now I'm hearing that there is a definitive edition of this game coming out. I don't know if I'm going to be paying $60 to play the same exact game over and over again, other than, I think the visuals are updated, which it's kind of cool. And I do have a PlayStation 4, and there aren't a whole lot of games out right now, so if I'm really feeling desperate for some gaming, for some, at least new visuals, because it wouldn't be new to me, but if I am really feeling desperate for something good, I will take a step back into the world of Tomb Raider 2013 with updated graphics. I'd be happy to, re-embark on this. We'll see what I do, but as for right now, in 2013, this game is number 4 on my list. BioShock Infinite is not the BioShock game that I was really expecting, to be honest, way earlier this year. Whenever I first saw the trailer for it, I didn't even realize it was a BioShock game. I just was watching it and I was like, what game is this? What could it possibly be? What the heck is this? And then, of course, that BioShock Infinite logo comes up with the kind of patriotic sort of tearing colors and whatnot. And I was just, I was completely confused. I had no idea what to expect from this game. I didn't have good thoughts of it, to be honest with you, because I was so stuck in that, Rapture sort of mindset. In this game, just decided to trek into a whole new area called Columbia, which is like the exact opposite of Rapture. It's literally a city in the sky, whereas Rapture is a city under the sea, which is crazy. Of course, the freaking team at BioShock would do. Of course, they would do this. This is exactly the kind of shit they do there. But to be honest with you, this game did come out. I played it, and I did enjoy it thoroughly. The only thing that I really I sort of had a problem with was the gameplay, which was limited compared to the other games, which makes no sense because those other games, I mean, the first BioShock game is one of the greatest games in history, apparently, at this moment. So, I just don't understand how BioShock Infinite couldn't have won out on my, if I were to make like a top 10 list of best video games ever made, if BioShock 1 was on that list, BioShock Infinite wouldn't be on there because it would be, I like BioShock, the first one, way more than I like Infinite, but yet Infinite is still a fantastic game. The storyline is really great. It has the best character in the BioShock series, probably. Elizabeth is probably the greatest character. It's not really hard for her to do that. I mean, who's she up against? The little sisters, the creepy little sisters. But anyway, BioShock Infinite came out, ended up being a really good experience with a bit of a dwindling middle section, but it did have a great gameplay mechanic that worked throughout the game, a robust sort of upgrade system that's not the best I've seen, but it worked well, and also an ending that just completely, blew everybody away. BioShock Infinite's fantastic. It takes the number 3 spot.
Alright, looks like I'm gonna have to take me out some O'Neills.
Inbred freaks. I don't know how
What
I'm
if I can
gonna
get these
do
two
it,
without
but I'll
alerting
kill a
people?
lot of you.
Oh, that was an accident. Seemed to work though.
GTA 5 was probably my most anticipated game of 2013. I remember waiting savagely for months for this game to finally be released and not being able to go to the midnight release, but having to wait all the way till the next day to finally pick this up, go get back to my freaking house, pop it in my Xbox, and finally get a taste of what it's like to play the next GTA game. GTA 5, while it might be a disappointment in some areas, but there's no denying that I had tons of fun in both the single player and the online mode. And it's just, I mean, just running around shooting people as Trevor, or taking Michael and I doing whatever really with Michael, and then taking Franklin and skydiving and hear him scream, and it's just the weirdest, most wacky game with the most adult humor that has ever come out, really. And it's always been controversial, and this one is no stranger to that. There's lots of just straight adult humor. There's lots of race talk, and it takes place in Los Angeles, kind of like a mock Los Angeles city, which is really awesome because I used to live in California, so a lot of these areas I've actually seen before, and so I've definitely it's more connecting with me to this game. But I did have a connection with GTA 4. I have been to New York, and it's awesome to see some of the stuff in game, but this one was more unique to me, which I just loved. So I definitely love the setting. It's nice and colorful. It's wacky as ever. It's the storyline was crazy, and just at times it was even pretty epic, I have to admit. And switching between the characters is always a joy. You should pick this game up if you're above the age of 17. I mean, if you're 17 or above, sorry. And definitely check this one out. It's my number 2. It's my second favorite game of the year.
Alright. Epic grand finale. Oh! There it is.
Okay, I guess it's my turn to gush at the genius that is The Last of Us, a PlayStation 3 exclusive that is now going to be available on the PlayStation Now service for PlayStation 4. I can't even think of what to talk about first about this game. I guess I'll just explain exactly what it is. You play as Joel, a man who has just recently lost his daughter and is now in a world being taken over by Apocalypse. And he is having a very hard time adjusting to not only the apocalypse but also the loss of his daughter. So therefore he is now a hardened and sort of like just beat down man who is struggling to survive. And he has run into another young woman by the name of Ellie, who you also play as later on in the video game. I do not want to spoil anything about this game. I will not spoil any endings. I will not spoil anything about this game. The only thing you need to know about this game is that everything is perfection here. The pacing of the story mode is perfection. Because if you're doing if there's an actual apocalypse, you're going to be struggling, and it's going to be like something new is going to emerge every single second. A new sort of threat is going to pop up at pretty much every moment. And that's what the storyline feels like in this game. It's frantic, it's chaotic, and it, above all, is absolutely downright fun. There is just so much to this game that is just perfect. I started out with pacing. Let's go to the next one. Gameplay. Gameplay is perfect as well. The gunplay is smooth as ever. It's absolute perfection. I can't believe I have to say the word perfect so much, but just imagine Uncharted, but 10 times better. That's basically the gunplay. And the brutality of the gunplay makes it feel that much more realistic. You become absolutely immersed in this game. Go watch my let's play of it. It's absolutely great. You would love the commentary. I'm sure if you like nonstop commentary, I definitely give a lot of input on that game, and I'm definitely immersed throughout that let's play. And it's one of my favorite games, pretty much of all time. Definitely my favorite game of 2013. Could even be my favorite PlayStation 3. Actually, it's my favorite PlayStation 3 game I've ever played. Really, my favorite PlayStation game I've ever played. And if I can get my hands on it again on PlayStation Now, I will do it immediately because I love this game. I never actually got a chance to get to the multiplayer, which is crazy because if you think about it, this game is number 1 on my list and I haven't even played the multiplayer yet. I've played like 2 matches. I don't want to say I've, extensively played it. I've played enough to grasp what it is, and it is a solid multiplayer. It is it is there. It does require skill, and the people seem to be enjoying it, and it was a pretty robust multiplayer mode that was very unique, and that was, that's just side stuff for this game. The story mode alone is definitely worth the price paying for this game because it is an absolute joy to play. The graphics the graphics are like next gen. They're next gen on current gen. They're they're even better than GTA's graphics in my opinion. The only game to beat out GTA 5 this year for me was The Last of Us. It is the most highly praised game in history, beating out even Skyrim, which I love so much. And if you ask me which one's better between The Last of Us and Skyrim, I couldn't tell you because I love them both equally. Just The Last of Us is just a very unique game, completely different than, a lot of stuff that we're getting these days. It's a third-person shooter, which, isn't super unique, but just the way that the game plays out and the story mode progresses and, different things happen that are, emotionally, hard-hitting. Just, you need to give this game a try if you love apocalypse, if you love zombies, if you love survival, because it has survival elements, believe it or not. And then stealth. It has a lot of stealth segments that are fantastic. Gunplay, third-person shooter or first-person shooter, you'll feel right at home. The controls are perfect. And just pick this game up. If you like video games and you understand that this is an art medium, please get The Last of Us. It is my favorite game of 2013.
Ow. Run. Ooh, crap. This is intense stuff.
Thanks for sticking around for my personal top 10 favorite games of 2013. Please leave a comment with your personal top 10 games of 2013 or games that you feel that should be honorably mentioned, because I didn't have any honorable mentions, but that's just because, I just tried to make this video as compact as possible, and it still ended up being quite a long video. But thanks for sticking around. If you have, definitely leave a comment with your top 10 favorite games of this year, or even your top 10 games that you think are coming up. Go check out my other video of my top 10 most anticipating, the top 10 games that I'm most anticipating for 2014. Go check that video out. There's a link right here on the screen. Thank you for watching so much. This has been a Playthrough Gamer video. Like, comment, and subscribe at your leisure, and I'll see you on the next one, ladies and gentlemen.